Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I've posted a video on this channel. Long time no see. It is definitely good to be back. I thought I would give you guys some updates because I have currently been working at my job site for almost 8 months already, which is just crazy. The reason why I was away for a couple of months from this channel is because I ended up buying and moving into my first home, and while that was going on, I was just getting used to my new job site and getting more and more clients and trying to figure out my schedule, juggling all of these things and trying to find the work schedule that worked for me. So I definitely had to take a break from social media and from posting on here to take care of all of that. But right now I'm currently on holiday break, and I ended up taking off a full week from work, which when you work private practice, I mean, you don't get paid time off, at least not in my experience. So it's one of those things where you definitely have to look at the pros and cons and things like that, whether or not you can afford to take, you know, time away. But honestly, for me, compared to back in the day when I used to have to like earn PTO and things like that, for me to be able to message my boss or my supervisor and let them know that I'm taking a week just feels so good, because I have not been able to fully just take a week off in years. So that was really exciting. So also, if you have DM'd me during this time or tried emailing me and I couldn't get back to you, that is also why. I was just really busy and I needed to take time away to just take care of myself, get things in order, and just work, right? Work with my clients and things like that. There's only so much time in a day, unfortunately, and both fortunately, because it teaches us to kind of set healthy boundaries, right? All of these things that we teach our clients. So I also just wanted to take some time to say thank you to the outpour, because it truly has felt like an outpour, and I'm not just saying that to say it. Like, it has felt like just so many of you have DM'd me and let me know that my videos have been so helpful to you, and that means so much, because I relate to that feeling. When I was in grad school, I would try to look up videos of something like this that I get to create now, and I couldn't really find anything that I could personally relate to. I feel like the LPC or even LPC-Associate content pool is very small and I feel like it's growing, which is exciting, but it's still really not as huge. So it just means so much that my videos are helpful in some way, and I'm truly just so happy that I ended up recording and documenting my time while I was taking my NCE and that whole process. Because if you were to ask me right now, like, if I remember how certain things went, I could not tell you, and it totally makes sense. Because I remember during my internship, when I would talk to the LPC associates at that time, or LPCs, they wouldn't be able to remember either, like, what happened, because it's just such a stressful time in our lives that I feel like we all probably just block it out, because one, it's already very confusing, like the process, as I've talked about in my past videos. So to try to remember what was done can be very hard. So I'm glad I got to document it for you guys to see, and I'm glad that it's been helpful in some way to those of you who have let me know. That means the world. So I also thought I would give you some updates as to like my work schedule and what all of that looks like, because it's been a couple of months, so I've had some time to settle in and to work on just creating the schedule that works best for me, which feels like a dream to say. For anyone who's new to my channel, I currently am an LPC associate in Texas, and I work for a private practice. So I have the freedom in that private practice to create the schedule that I want, essentially. So honestly, it took me about 1 to 2 months to really figure out what was going to work best for me. So if I had to say anything to any other LPC associates, is give yourself grace and time to just get used to your new work roles, because it does take time, especially when we're coming out of graduating and trying to get into the working field or our career field, whatever that may look like for each of us. So what my schedule looks like now, and I've kept this schedule for a couple of months now, is Mondays are strictly note and catch up on progress note or intake note days. I do not see clients at all anymore, because when I first started working, I realized something about myself, and that was that if I didn't just have a dedicated day to work on notes, it was really hard to keep up with writing my notes after seeing like 4 clients back to back. Like my brain was just like, no, we're not doing it. So I decided to give myself like about 2 or 3 weeks to try, taking Mondays off of work. And by that, I just mean that on my schedule, it says that I don't take clients on Monday. Technically, I'm still working, but this is another thing about private practice. I don't really get paid for all of the time that I put into my notes, which is something that I have been working on with my supervisor to try to really work on finishing my notes a little quicker and not being so hard on myself about taking so much time and dedicating so much time to writing out a note, even though my perfectionist brain might look at the note that took me hours and be like, yes, this is better. The reality is, for me in working private practice, that whatever time I'm utilizing when I'm not seeing clients is technically my time. So whether I take 45 minutes to write a note or 6 hours to write a note, that's my time that I'm using, and I don't get paid more or less for using more of that time to write that note, if that makes sense. So yeah, I definitely have been learning a lot of really helpful and practical things along the way, and I hope in just sharing these things that it helps you or it gives you some insight, because these are all things that I didn't know when I was in grad school. I didn't know all of these details, so I hope in just putting it out there that it's something that can be helpful for any of you, or for someone else who may still be in graduate school or in university contemplating this career field. Now, if you work for a larger agency, so not private practice, this is not the case. You get paid based on your salary for the most part, depending on each agency. So that is completely different. My salary is dependent on how many clients I see. And regardless of how many clients I see too, a percentage of what I'm making is being paid to the person that I'm working for. So for example, if you're working for a psychologist in their private practice, they're making a percentage off of what you're making. So this is something that has been very frustrating for a lot of LPC associates for years, and I have some really exciting news on that front too. I don't know how many of you have been keeping up with the updates, but I ended up going on the website. Let me get it really quick to show you. So this is the LPC Associates of Texas Facebook group. It says LPC board approved rule changes allowing associates to own and operate a private practice, accept direct payment, and shared liability for associate and supervisors. So essentially, this advocacy group, I mentioned it in a past video, I think, has been working toward LPC associates being able to operate and own their own private practice after graduating. And once you have your LPC associate license, this means that we wouldn't have to wait until we make our 3,000 hours, which honestly should have never been a thing. It's always been very insulting to so many LPC associates, those who have finished their graduate degree. It's never made sense. So yeah, this is something that I've been keeping a close eye on with my supervisor. I would not have known this without my supervisor letting me know. So apparently we're just waiting for everything to be finalized in February. So I have just felt a rush of emotions. I think I told my supervisor, like, I thought I had so much more time to plan things out, and technically I still do, but just the fact that we're going to be able to, that this is an option now for us, is such an exciting thing. And I'm just thinking of the amount of jobs that this is going to create for so many LPC associates right after graduating, that has been such a stressor for so many, because so many of us basically just feel that we're gonna have to go work at a really large agency, get overworked, and then repeat the cycle. And yeah, it's just very exciting. Definitely keep up with that advocacy group and keep an eye out for those changes. I am so excited. Now back to my work schedule. I know I go on little tangents, but I hope that they're still really helpful. Like just having this type of chat in the videos, I hope can be really helpful and just spark maybe some good conversations even in the comment sections. So going back to the work schedule, Tuesday through Friday is when I see clients. I don't start work till 10 a.m., which is honestly a dream and amazing because I've never been a morning person. So I decided to set that schedule for myself. I do not open my email until like 9:45. And then I also see clients after like regular work hours, which is like your 9 to 5. I tend to keep it open, so I see clients in the evening, and I think my latest session is 7 to 8. And I particularly really liked having that evening window open for clients because it makes it possible for like students or those who work during regular hours and can't easily just take a day off. It allows for more people to have access in that way, and I'm a night owl, so it completely works. And then Saturday and Sunday are my rest days, my days off. And I have been offered at work to work on the weekends. I've been asked by clients if I will work on the weekends, and I always say no because I have stuck to that healthy work boundary where I refuse to work on the weekends because I know it is going to make me a very unhappy and grumpy counselor. And two, it just allows my mind to completely shut off from work those 2 days. I know that I am not going to check my email. I'm not going to open any type of work things up. I am off duty, and it is so good for my own mental health. And I think that's one of the other things that I wanted to talk about, because going the route that I've taken, I never want it to be romanticized. It completely depends on each of our priorities. Like for example, I decided to really prioritize self-care because I never want to experience burnout the way that I did after getting my undergraduate and working as a case manager in a larger agency. I knew that I never wanted to put myself in that situation ever again. So one of the things that has taken a hit is my finances. I don't make as much as someone who does work in community health. So yeah, there are so many great aspects to working private practice, but as an LPC associate, it does come also with some drawbacks depending on the lifestyle that you live. Like for example, what I make right now as an LPC associate in private practice, if you were to ask me, you know, do you think that that's a fair amount that you should be making? Hands down, I would say no. But because of these laws set in place by the board, we're kind of put in these positions, which is why I'm so excited that this advocacy group is starting to change things and that the board got on board and is also trying to implement these changes. So yes, there are definitely pros and cons to working in both settings. But for me personally, I'm just very happy, and I've talked to my supervisor about this. I'm very happy with the pace that I'm currently working at. It just makes me feel like a really happy and content human, not even just a happy therapist, but like a very content human being, because I get to have slower mornings and just gradually, you know, wake up and treatment plan the way that I'd like, all of these things. And also reality check, right? It also comes with me having to really budget myself very well, because that's just one of my realities, which is very exciting for me to think about the possibility of me being able to have my own online private practice and to do my own thing in that way, because then my income and my finances is going to be more in my hands. As far as pricing, I wouldn't have to be giving a portion of my work to someone else. And I don't want to completely, you know, discredit that. There are other benefits to that too. Like for example, working under someone and being able to have someone as a mentor of sorts and just learning. There's so many things that I've learned in private practice that I'm truly glad that I'm learning within a group setting with other counselors and being able to consult. And obviously, just because of our profession, I can't share every single detail. You guys know, you guys understand. But just like I did when I was taking my test, like as these processes come, I hope to do the same. And also, speaking of how many clients I tend to see during my work days, it completely is different each day. There are some days where I will only see 2 clients, some days where I see 3, 4. At the most, I've seen 6 clients, and on days when I've seen 6 clients, my brain is completely just mush. By the end of the day, all I want to do is just clutch a pillow and stare off into the distance or just play Animal Crossing or watch a show. I'm completely just done. And I personally do individual therapy, so 1 person at a time. So I try not to have many days like that where I see 6 clients. I feel like what works best for me is seeing about 3 to 4 telehealth clients a day, and there's only 1 day out of the week where I commute into the office because it is about a 45-minute to an hour drive for me. I told myself that I wanted to give myself a year to at least commute into the office, and that has opened me to other clients, but the reality is that the bulk of my client load at this moment is telehealth clients, which makes me really happy and hopeful for the future. I feel like my vision for like my career or my business has definitely changed. I remember going into undergraduate thinking that I wanted to rent out my own office one day and physically be there, because online therapy was not really talked about when I was in undergrad. So just seeing the possibilities of that now and working in it, I realized that that's an area that I really enjoy and that I love. So I'm sure there's just so much more that we could talk about, but those are really most of the things that I can think of right now. If you have other questions, definitely leave them in the comment section. All I want to say to my future counselors in training out there is to really take time to self-care, because in our work field, even though sometimes it's told to us and it's kind of like fed to us in a way, there truly are not many workplaces that really live by that truth. You know what I mean? There's always going to be more work. So I just want to say, do what you have to do to take care of yourself. I know for me during grad school, that literally looked like not always being an A student, sometimes getting the B or the C, and then realizing that that grade didn't define who I was going to be as a future therapist or a counselor. I got to define that for myself after graduating. And again, I'm just trying to keep it real and honest. These are conversations that I would have one-on-one with another counselor in training if we were face-to-face. But that's definitely something that I've also been working on this time while I haven't been making videos to share with you all, is really just finding my own voice and my own identity as a therapist and as a counselor. Because when you're fresh out of grad school, it's kind of hard. Like, you're questioning every move you're making, and I don't want to generalize, but this tends to be true for other people that I've talked to. Like, you're just questioning everything you're doing, and imposter syndrome is just so real. So I definitely feel like I feel more comfortable being more of myself, and I'm so thankful for therapists who have talked about this topic on their Instagrams or on YouTube. But last words, thank you so much for watching, everyone. We have grown since I last have been making videos, so thank you to everyone. Take care, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.